All right, well, good morning, everyone. My name is Robert Harris, and I am the Vice President of the United Coalition of Public Safety, and I'm also a Director here at the Los Angeles Police Protective League. Thank you for being with us today. UCOPS is a national coalition of law enforcement unions that have come together to help make our individual communities safe and improve community and police relations. We're made up of police officers from around the country, from Los Angeles to San Francisco and San Jose, to Las Vegas, New York, Seattle, Portland, Omaha, Hawaii, and more. With us today, we have Las Vegas Police Protective Association President Steve Gromas and their Secretary John Abel. We have Seattle Police Officers Guild President-elect Mike Solon. We have San Francisco Police Officers Association President Tony Montoya. We have New York's Police Department Sergeant Benevolent Association Vice President Vincent Valilong and their Sergeant of Arms Michael Perugia. We also have San Jose Police Officers Association President Paul Kelly and their Vice President Sean Pritchard. We started UCOPS to create a more forward-thinking organization to address issues that are affecting working police officers today and to create solutions to the challenges that we face and to support one another as our profession goes through a time of change. I want to run through a quick slideshow with you all. One of the things UCOPS wanted to do was to commission a national poll to determine whether the communities that we serve hold a favorable or an unfavorable opinion of law enforcement. What we found in our poll is that our communities overwhelmingly have a favorable opinion of law enforcement, 82% in fact. And it didn't matter whether those community members were on the West Coast, the East Coast, the South, or the Midwest, our favorability ratings remained high. But we also wanted to know whether or not our communities, or what our communities' perceptions were about the officers who served them. So we found out that overwhelmingly people know that we have a very difficult and dangerous job. 93% of those surveyed actually agreed. We found that 85% of people believe that we care a lot about the people we serve and the neighborhoods that we serve. 86% of people believe that we act in a professional manner and that we are trustworthy. We also wanted to know how important it was for their officers to receive the support and training that they need. The survey found that 96% of people agree that we need support in handling stress and the traumas experienced on this job. 95% of our community members thought it was important that we receive training when interacting with people with mental health issues and in de-escalating conflicts. We broke down our favorability rating into demographic subgroups. While our favorability rating remained high through all three, whites and Hispanics were obviously higher, and we recognize that in the African American community that we can do better. I'm going to allow Paul Kelly, the President of San Jose, to address that here in a moment. As law enforcement professionals, we know how important it is to address root causes of crime and to find solutions to our homeless crisis. And our communities that we surveyed overwhelmingly support increasing quality training for police officers when it comes to de-escalating conflicts and dealing with people experiencing mental health crises. But 96% of our community also supported better economic and educational opportunities in our high crime areas. As law enforcement professionals, we know that there is a strong correlation between having access to good jobs and better education and violent crime rates. Our community members also supported, 96% of them, to increase and improve the services that are given to our mentally ill. That's a quick, rough overview of our national poll, and at this time I'm actually going to turn the microphone over to the President of San Jose, Paul Kelly. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for being here today. My name is Paul Kelly. I'm the President of San Jose Police Officers Association and also the President of the United Coalition of Public Safety, UCOPS. Last month, we commissioned a national poll to assess the opinions of voters across the country on the perception of their local police officers. We wanted to find out about the experience Americans have with the police officers who protect their communities. The response is humbling. 82% of registered voters across the country have a favorable opinion of their local police officers. Over 85% believe that their police officers care about the people and the communities they serve. It's an amazing show of support. It runs counter to what some so-called experts in our country believe is eroding support for the officers who risk their lives every day to serve the American people. To the officer, walking a beat, driving a patrol car, you can breathe a little easier. Your residents support you. While the support for officers is deep and wide, there are clear segments of our community that struggle to trust law enforcement. And we need to find solutions to change it. Our polling data showed that 62% of African Americans surveyed had a favorable opinion of their officers, 20% below the overall total. For a politician, they'd be doing backflips. As public safety professionals, we can do better. We know that one of the barriers to building trust is that for too long, law enforcement leaders have remained silent when clearly over-the-line officer-involved shootings occurred, such as the tragic and unjustified shooting of Walter Scott in South Carolina. Quite honestly, that's viewed as a lack of acknowledgement that officers can make mistakes, that some officers are just unfit to do the job. We want to end that perception. We are all committed to due process for officers when they are accused of wrongdoing. However, as leaders, we should be among the voices calling for accountability when officer behavior breaks trust with our communities and tarnishes our profession, our badges. My commitment today is to do just that, and to encourage our colleagues across the nation to do it as well. As police officers, when we see policemen misconduct, it angers us, makes us mad. But now, we need to speak out. We need to share with everyone in our community that we have the highest standards for ourselves and our profession. Thank you. I'd like to introduce to you Mike Solon, President-elect of Seattle Police Officers Guild.
Thank you, Paul. Good morning. My name is Mike Solon, S-O-L-A-N. I am the President-elect of the Seattle Police Officers Guild and the Treasurer of UCOPS. Being a police officer in these days is a daunting task. At times it can feel overwhelming, and it can seem by what you catch on social media that support for police officers is declining. However, despite social media, these poll numbers show that support for local police officers remains overwhelmingly strong. 93% of voters understand that we have a difficult and dangerous job. 86% believe that we act in a professional manner. 82% said that we are trustworthy. That's incredible support, as what Paul said just moments ago. But we have work to do. There is room for improvement. We must connect better with the communities that we serve. To that end, UCOPS will be hosting a national summit of thought leaders, solution-oriented community stakeholders, community-based organizations, academics, and rank-and-file cops to have a frank and constructive dialogue to produce actionable steps based upon understanding, healing, mutual respect, open communication to improve police and community relations. For too long, too many people who work in administrative positions within law enforcement work in offices as opposed to patrol cars. They've been sought as the authority on how to improve community and police relations. Sadly, rank-and-file police officers, by and large, have not had a seat at that table. Based on this reality, we are creating a new table. We want to hear directly from all stakeholders. We want to create a dialogue where police officers can understand community experiences and perceptions, but we also want to hear directly from the working police officers that push those patrol cars. We want to hear police officer experiences, their perspectives, and especially how we engage and talk about our jobs when we are professionally serving our communities. Our goal is to not solve the problem with a meeting, but rather start a dialogue and start a process to create some actionable steps that can be received nationally and also in the communities where UCOPS members professionally serve on a daily basis. This is our best chance to improve relations and our best chance at progress. We are ready to get started. And at this time, I'll hand it over to New York Sergeants Benevolent Association Vice President Vincent Vallelong. Vinny.
Good afternoon. My name is Vincent Vallelong. I'm the Vice President of the Sergeants Benevolent Association for the New York City Police Department. One of the things we know about police work is too often we are viewed as the first solution, the first responder to just about every problem the community can have. And as much as we embrace that role, we also know that mentality itself must change. We believe strongly that if a crime is committed, we as police officers are obligated to arrest as per the law. And as such, those who represent our criminal justice system should also ensure that those who break the law are also held accountable. In a perfect world, there would be no crime. If the core issues that lead to this are addressed, especially where concentrated in high crime areas, we can make our communities safer for both residents and officers. That's why our organizations believe in promoting programs for job training, apprenticeships, educational programs, and those ideas actually have received 96% support in our polls. We can help make our communities safer by ensuring that police officers have the best training, possible to de-escalate conflicts when the situation allows it, and again, something voters strongly support. Our healthcare systems need to take responsibility and better serve the mentally ill, which is an ever-growing crisis in all the cities UCOPS represents. And 96% of voters support this according to the polls taken. Finally, PTSD. It's a major issue in our profession. It affects the ability of all police officers when handling the trauma and stress that comes with being a police officer. PTSD is one of the biggest risks to the health and lives of our officers. They need the support and they need the resources to cope with the aftermath of experiences of a job that is so demanding. We're very encouraged that the 96% of the voters support providing our officers with the resources to cope with trauma of the work we do day in and day out. The hope is our elected leaders look at these numbers and see the support the American people are giving our officers and the needs we have and act accordingly. It's the rare occasion in politics where you can do the right thing and make everybody happy. Thank you.